Hi guys, my name is Swami and welcome to another video from A Coach Called Life. I've been wanting to make a video about what are the factors and the principles and the strategies that led to my recovery from depersonalization. So here it is. In this video, I want to go over some of the strategies and some of the factors that helped me recover from depersonalization. So let's get on with it. As you all know, depersonalization is one hell of a confusing and scary disorder. There's not much information out there. Even many trained doctors and psychologists don't really know what depersonalization or derealization is. So that can make this disorder even more confusing because you're not getting the right help, you're not getting the right kind of support that you need. But let me list out the things that have helped me find my way towards recovery. The first thing that really helped me, or the first principle that really helped me, was the concept of acceptance. I've talked in my previous videos a number of times about how acceptance is really the way out of anxiety. And what I mean by that is that when you get depersonalized, when you get derealized, and you're having all of these scary thoughts and symptoms, instead of fighting these feelings, instead of resisting them, we must learn how to accept them. We must learn even to surrender to them when their intensity is too high. This goes against our thinking. Our instinctual thinking is to fight these feelings. Our instinctual thinking is to resist them and to tighten up. In your body, you can feel like when you get depersonalized, you tighten up. But we must try to do the opposite. You must try to loosen your body. You must try to relax. You must try to accept and surrender and let these feelings move through you. And that is the number one factor that will lead you to recovery. The more you keep fighting these feelings, the more stress you're adding to your body and your mind. And remember, depersonalization is a consequence of a lot of built-up stress. It's a consequence of stress hormones circulating in your body. And if you keep fighting and if you keep resisting, you're adding more stress to that equation. So we have to do the opposite. So acceptance is key. I know acceptance is not easy. The concept itself is pretty simple, but to put it into practice is hard. So another principle that helped me actually accept was telling myself to be okay with discomfort and pain. There is no way you can recover without experiencing discomfort, without experiencing pain. For you to just always be in a place of safety and hoping that you would recover is never going to work out. Recovery doesn't work like that. Recovery means you should be okay with feeling some kind of discomfort. And what I really mean by that is once you start accepting these symptoms, once you start letting go and not fighting them, you will feel their intensity. You will feel depersonalization coming on. You will feel all of the panic symptoms coming on, and we must tell ourselves to be okay with discomfort. We must tell ourselves it's a painful period. It's just I'm moving through a phase of discomfort, but I'm going to be okay with it. I'm going to try to be okay with it. I am going to be not resisting this discomfort. Sometimes I told myself I signed up for this. It's almost like if you go to any kind of boot camp, you signed up for pain. You signed up for a lot of suffering, right? Because only then you can get the body that you want or be as strong as you want it, right? So in the same way, I told myself I signed up for this discomfort and I'm going to experience it, and it's okay for me to experience it, and I'm going to just keep going forward slowly maybe, but I'm going to keep going forward. And it's okay for me to fall down, but I'm going to pick up pick myself up again, and I'm gonna keep walking straight. So be sure that you are okay with feeling discomfort. If you're all the time craving safety and not wanting to feel these feelings, you're not going to be able to get out of these. You must face these feelings, is what I'm saying. You must face these feelings, and you must be okay with certain level of discomfort and pain. That's the way to get out of this. Another principle that helped me get through depersonalization, another principle that helped me actually accept these feelings, was to create an underlying sense of safety. And I've talked about this in one of my previous videos, and I will link to that video in the description so you can actually go and watch it and gain more information. But to give you a little bit of a brief introduction, what I mean when I say you have to create an underlying sense of safety is that in order to accept these feelings, in order to be okay with the discomfort, you have to know that ultimately you're going to be fine. To give you an example, let's say you want to do bungee jumping, right? What are you going to do? You are going to go to a place and you're going to pick the company with the right track record. You're not going to just simply go to a company which is just starting out. And when you're actually doing the jump, you want to know that this bungee cord is going to support you, right? That's what I mean by underlying sense of safety. When you're trying to accept these feelings, when you're trying to move past them, you want to know that ultimately you're going to be safe, right? So I would want you to try to cultivate that underlying sense of safety. Some things that helped me cultivate the underlying sense of safety was that I understood that my mind and my body knew how to heal themselves, and there have been countless evidence and lots of anecdotal evidence and scientific studies that let me knew that you can trust your mind and your body to heal themselves. The other thing that helped me was I have a very supportive family, so I thought, whatever happens to me, they will take care of me. So I am okay to let go and surrender. And I didn't worry about, a few other things. I didn't worry about money or any issues like that. So I was able to completely surrender and let go. So try to create an underlying sense of safety that can help you with accepting these feelings, that can help you face these uncomfortable feelings and pain. Moving on, I want to talk to you about another strategy that helped me, and this was exposing myself to my triggers. When I became depersonalized, when I got into a lot of panic and anxiety, I had a lot of fears, right? I didn't want to go to work, and I didn't want to take the subway, and I didn't want to go outside and be outside and be depersonalized or derealized, because it was overwhelming for me. But I just knew that if I let those fears get in to me, I would end up staying indoors all the time. I would never have a life again. So I told myself I'm going to try to expose myself to my triggers. And even though I didn't feel like it, I ended up going to work, and I did full-time job. And I worked full-time, and I took the subway, even though I felt extremely claustrophobic, and I hung out with my friends. Even when I was feeling depersonalized, I would just look at them and they would feel all weird to me, but I still kept going at it. I tried to deliberately expose myself to my triggers. But here's the thing, this didn't happen all the time. There were times when my fear took the best of me, it claimed the best of me, and I couldn't do anything that day. There were times when I would go try to take the subway, and then it was too overwhelming, so I would end up taking a cab, or I would, work from home. And then sometimes I didn't want to hang out with friends because it was too overwhelming. But what I did was I would try again the next day. I didn't let that one incident put me down. Courage, they say, is not about living without fear. Courage is about saying to yourself that you will try again tomorrow. That's what true courage is. Next up is patience. Frankly, without patience, you will never recover. Patience is something that's essential when you're recovering from depersonalization or derealization. The number one question that my clients ask me is, how long will it take for me to recover? And I tell them, forget about timelines. Forget about the length of time. Forget about how long you're going to have this, because it's not in our hands. We don't control that. So it's useless to worry about that. And secondly, the more you get stressed out about timelines, the more, the more depersonalization you're going to feel, because that is additional stress that you're adding to yourself. So have patience, right? Just do the things, start accepting and move towards your fears, and expose yourself to your triggers, and connect with life, and just leave the healing to your mind and your body, and they're going to take care of it. When you no longer need to dissociate, when you no longer need to have any kind of anxiety, the depersonalization is going to go away. So don't worry about timeline, or don't worry about how long you've had this, or don't worry about how long it's going to be. It will eventually move away. If you do things the right way, it will leave you, maybe in a month, maybe in a week, maybe in a year. Don't care about all of that. Stop worrying about timelines, and try to be patient, because that is one of the essential qualities that you must possess to go into recovery. Here's another thing. Start seeing depersonalization as harmless. That doesn't mean it's not painful. That doesn't mean it's not scary. What I'm trying to tell you is that for a lot of people who are depersonalized, we think that we are going to go insane or completely lose touch with reality because of depersonalization. But you will know that you will actually find out that none of your worst fears are going to come true, because there is nothing in this disorder that's going to cause that kind of brain damage or whatever it is that we keep telling ourselves. It's all just plain fear, and it's all just mental fear. So once I started seeing depersonalization as something harmless, I was able to accept it in a little bit of an easier way, that I didn't have problems letting these feelings come and go. And I felt a little uneasy. I felt unpleasant when I was depersonalized or anxious, but I wasn't going into panic mode, because I was okay, this is not as harmless as I thought it was. This is not as harmful as I thought it was, but I'm just gonna let these feelings come and go. So try that strategy. Don't try to see depersonalization as your enemy, like a lot of people do. This is not your enemy. These feelings are just a byproduct of a lot of stress and hormonal imbalances, but they are not your enemy. And finally, what helped me was to do a bit of soul searching. My theory is that anxiety or depersonalization are just consequences of certain imbalances in your life, and if you try fixing those imbalances, these feelings will either reduce or completely go away. So I tried to work with a therapist and figure out where were the areas in my life that needed a little bit of tuning. And I wasn't really happy with my full-time job. I wasn't happy with the way that my life was going. I wanted to be somewhere else, and I was here, so there was a disconnect between where I was and where I wanted to be, and I wasn't doing anything about it. So of course, you're going to start feeling all of these feelings. So I started trying and tackling these areas one by one. And when I started working towards remediating these imbalances, I felt like my anxiety level was coming down, and consequently there was no need for me to get depersonalized. So start looking at your life, see where those imbalances are, and try to treat anxiety and depersonalization as signals that are telling you to fix those imbalances, and then see what happens. So there it is, guys. Those are the factors and those are the principles and strategies that have personally helped me find recovery from depersonalization, and I hope they do the same for you as well. And as always, if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also consider sharing this video to your network, because all of that really helps me and keeps me motivated to produce more content for you. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to making more videos like this, and I will see you soon. Have a good day.